Hello, welcome to Back to the Loved One. This is my first video. Well, it's kind of like my second video. I made a video yesterday about the snow in the area where I live, which doesn't receive a lot of snow, but it was so nice to wake up to see the town covered in it, and I really love that. Introduction, my name is Ina. I had this YouTube channel for a very long time. Never posted anything. I think 2018 I've had it. Had many different reasons why I would wait. None of them valid. They were just excuses because I wasn't ready. My confidence wasn't up. I was worried about ridiculous things, superficial things really. My weight, my hair is not done, I'm too busy. Not important. It's not important to talk about now. I'm doing it now, and that's what I'm excited about. A little bit about myself. I'm a senior. I grew up with my children. I became a mom early, and now I'm growing up with my grandkids because that's how life is. You learn a lot throughout your life. I'm constantly learning new things every day about myself, people around me that I love. I'm being more patient and understanding that we all are learning together. And I'm learning more about the world in general. So that's why I say I'm growing up with my grandchildren. And maybe one day I'll make a video saying that I'm growing up with my great-grandchildren. So what I want this channel to be is just like a look into my life, what I'm doing. I'm not employed at present. I love being in my senior years. I love doing things that folks trying to figure out what's next at this age. I attempted to do some things once I became a senior that I thought I would do once I got older. To my surprise, that's why it's best to do things when you can, when you say you're going to do it. My health wasn't up to par. I had some issues that I just wasn't up for the challenge. But I made an earnest effort. I tried to do things. But I knew that it was just not the time for it. So the reason why I chose the name Back to the Loved One is because we have to love ourselves first. And I know for myself that has been a challenge because I was often preoccupied of how I can get others to get along with family, get along with, just not being too harsh and abrasive in life, because I wanted them to get along with me too. And I'm talking about my children in particular, my husband, and other close family members. Being a middle child out of 9, 2 sisters and 2 brothers older than me, and the same younger than me. I kind of always was like in the middle. I can look and see, okay, I see how you can work on something, and you're not right for doing that. But it was so easy for me not to look and see what I needed to do. And we will excuse sometimes our behavior. It's human nature. Now that I say, I have a cat. I have 2 cats, actually. She just, if you heard her, she might get behind me in a minute. Smokey and Bandy, they're girls. Smokey and Bandit was her name initially. After I thought about the movie Smokey and the Bandit with Burt Reynolds. And ironically, when I got these cats 7 years ago, it was near 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. That was around the time, just before Burt Reynolds died. I did not know, and it was so surreal for me because I have these 2 little kittens. They're named Smokey and Bandit, and my grandnephew was visiting. My grandson was here at the time, and they were just having a play date. And he said, "Auntie, you got to call this cat Bandit? A bandit is a bad guy." And I'm like, "You're right." See, I'm growing up with everybody. And so I named her Bandy instead. So Smokey, her name didn't change. He didn't have nothing to say about that. So Smokey and Bandy, they may show up every now and then. Talking about family sometimes is hard for me because you live a while, you live close to loved ones, there's going to be error. And that's hard to sometimes process. And, looking through my children's eyes or just being empathetic and seeing me through a lens that they have acquired over life, I look back and I think like, wow, okay, I was okay in a lot of ways. I was just a cool mom. I was fun. Did a lot with the kids. But then I was strict sometimes. I didn't even realize how strict I was because there was a lot of laughter going on. We laughed a lot. We laughed. Always silly. Always someone performing. 4 kids, 2 girls, 2 boys. The girl, boy, girl, boy, in that order. So it was a lot. The older set was the difference between 8 and 10 years older than the younger set. So there was conflict with that. But, I started thinking like, okay, this is not easy, navigating being a parent, raising these kids. And I, started taking my job seriously. And I did what everybody has been encouraged to do in life, give the children something, goals, lofty goals such as, school. They all went to school, save one. He hasn't gone yet. It's never too late, but that wasn't his path. My 3 other children, they went to college. All of them have wonderful jobs, and they're functioning in society in a way where I am so happy and grateful because it could be very different, and I understand that. And that's why I keep growing up with them, because they keep teaching me things. But as a mother that gotten serious, at one point I lived in Detroit, Michigan, and I try to shelter my children from a lot of things that I went through as a youth. And one thing that frightened me, it literally frightened me, when my youngest daughter at the time was 14. She said, "Mom, when I grow up, I want to be just like you." Very nice words, right? Very endearing words that make one normally say, "Oh, that's so sweet." Because it was. But for me, it was horrifying. Because I knew the things I had done as a youth. I knew the strife that I sometimes caused my mom because, I was something else. And that's why I thought my kids would not be a repeat of me in behavior. The joke was on me later, but we are who we are. We will imitate. I don't know if it's so much imitate or if it's a genetic factor, environmental factors, how we're culturalized, but our children, they are constantly watching us, no matter how we try to shield things from them. So I thought, let's go the path of religion. So I said, okay, guys, we all gonna get involved in this organized religion. Me first, with the oldest 2 at the time, 4 and 6. Took them to what I felt was the best life preparation school. To take them to, hi cat, my cat again, I'm sorry. To take them to a place of worship where they can cultivate and have their own relationship with God. Now, I got serious. I took my assignment really seriously. I would peer into the scriptures, study with so much earnestness that I became a trip. And I'm not saying that I was righteous over much, because there was times when, like I said, I knew, don't be too strict. But there was times when I was, because I was worried about their salvation primarily. And then I was worried about how they would turn out, and how they are being raised as a reflection of me, which is nothing wrong with that. That is normal for parents to feel that way. But it was so exhausting at times, because I constantly, I got to set the best example. I have to set the best example. And I'm, reading and studying the scriptures and teaching it to my children and taking them to worship. And I didn't give them a chance a lot to just be at ease, because I always felt like your conduct says more than your words. And I come from a very large family, having a lot of nieces and nephews with my children throughout the years. Different sets of the nieces and nephews would come over, and I would tell my kids before they arrived, you all have to be a good example, because we're like a religious family, and we can help them to, call them to their senses in some way, so that they too can believe and feel as we do. Not that they didn't have faith, but like I said, I was a trip. So the kids would come over, and, I would love their visits. But what was funny later? Like, for example, the kids asked to come over on the weekends. I'm like, yeah, sure. Friday night, everything's good. My kids are good. Everybody's having fun. And come Monday morning, after the weekend is over, and my nieces and nephews had gone home,